Ahoy there, I'm Captain Chris. I'm not a real captain, but I am going to take you on a full tour of the MSC ship Virtuosa so that you'll know what to expect if you're planning a cruise on Virtuosa anytime soon. And stay with me until the end because I've got a great tip coming up that I haven't read or heard anywhere else, so hopefully I can claim it as a world exclusive and you wouldn't want to miss that, would you? We'll start on the lower decks and work our way up, and on deck 4 there's the medical centre, so hopefully you won't be seeing that on your holiday. And then on deck 5 there's the Infinity Atrium. The Atrium extends up through decks 5, 6 and 7 and it's a really beautiful space. Reception is on deck 5 and there's a stage where there's often piano music. A drink's never far away on this ship and there's a desk where you can book shore excursions. But the really eye-catching part is the staircase. It's the shiniest, sparkliest staircase you've ever seen, and there's usually a photographer on hand if you fancy a picture here for the family album. It's the hub of the ship and a good place to start from if you lose your bearings, which you often will. For most of us, dinner will be in one of the 4 main restaurants on board. As you might expect on a ship called Virtuosa, there's a musical theme throughout, and that includes the names of the restaurants. At the back of deck 5 we find the first and biggest of these, the Blue Danube. It's absolutely huge and seats guests in 3 sittings each evening. Above the Blue Danube on deck 6 there are the other 3 main restaurants, which are called Minuetto, Opera and Symphony. Again, they're all huge. They're decorated with a musical theme and they each serve dinner over 2 sittings. Food is a matter of personal taste, of course, but we thought the meals served here were delicious. And considering that with fixed dining times everyone turns up all at once, we thought that the service was reasonably speedy when they could have easily been overwhelmed. As you leave the restaurants, you pass the sparkly wall of wine bottles and then you arrive back at the Atrium again. Here there are some boutique shops selling clothing and watches. Cruise ships do seem to love to sell you a watch. And opposite these is the Starship Club. The Starship Club is basically a bar, but the star of the bar is Rob, the robot bartender. If you'd like Rob to mix you a drink, you can place your order at one of the touchscreens and he'll spring into action. Rob's drinks don't come cheap, unfortunately, nor are they included in your drinks package. Maybe that's why he's called Rob, but it's a great novelty to watch him in action. On the other side of the Atrium is probably this ship's most impressive feature, the Galleria Virtuosa. It's a long, almost 100 metres long street, if you like, with shops, bars and restaurants all along its whole length. And above is the incredible LED ceiling, which can display anything from blue sky and flowers to stained glass windows and dinosaurs. It never seems to show the same thing twice. It was impossible to ignore, and it was probably the thing I'll remember about this ship after I've forgotten everything else. It was absolutely stunning. Along the Galleria there is a L'Atelier bar, which was a lovely place for a cocktail, and inside that is the Indochine restaurant, which serves a French Vietnamese menu. Along from there's Hola, Cantina and Tacos, which seemed very popular and was one of the cheaper of the paid-for restaurants. It's well worth a try if you're on board. And near to that is a shop selling crepes and absolutely delicious looking ice cream. It was always popular here and the display at the front of the shop looked really tempting, so if you're one of those people who have difficulty resisting temptation, this place could be your downfall. Opposite here there's a spectacular chocolate shop and cafe called Jean-Philippe, where there were all kinds of yummy chocolates that you could enjoy or take home as a gift. Just have a look at these amazing displays and imagine yourself there. Next to that is the always popular Virtuosa Bar and Lounge. There was plenty going on here. It was busy and lively with music and dancing in the evenings and quizzes and competitions during the day. At the front of the ship is the Grand Theatre, which was large and impressive and had different shows on each evening. There were singers, comedians, even a violinist. All the shows were very good, we thought. and they were repeated 3 times a night so that you could fit them around your dining time, and you can book so that you don't miss out, or turn up and see if there are any seats available. Up to deck 7 now, and at the front of the ship is the huge Aurea Spa. There's a spa pool here and rooms for massages, saunas and all sorts of wellness treatments, and a barber shop in case you didn't have time for a trim before your holiday. The spa always seemed to be in demand, so that must be a good sign that everything inside is really great, so treat yourself to a good pampering. Next to the spa, you're back in the Galleria, and there are plenty more venues along each side. Sometimes there's a parade or a sneak preview of the shows that are on board. There's the TV studio and bar on one side where they showed live sport on the big TV screens. Opposite that, there's the really popular Masters of the Sea, which is a British style pub. It was always very busy in here, so definitely a good choice if you like a lively atmosphere. Along from here, there is the Butcher's Cut steak bar, which is another restaurant that comes at an extra charge. Again, it was very popular here despite the extra cost, so make sure you book your table if you fancy a great big steak one night. Also here is Kato, which serves sushi and teppanyaki. Again, it's at an extra cost, and again it was very popular. It was great fun here because the food is cooked right in front of you at the table, so the whole thing becomes like a performance. So it's another great place to try at least once during your cruise. Opposite here is Il Campo Italian restaurant, where guests who've paid the Aurea fare and are on the My Choice dining rather than the set dining times in the main restaurants go for their meals. At the end of the Galleria again, and we're back in the Atrium, this time on the top floor looking down, and it really is a lovely shiny mirrored place. There's a glass lift here that gives great views outside as it travels up the outside of the ship. Around the edge here is a champagne bar with very nice seating, and that gives you another option of somewhere to sit in the evenings, and it didn't seem quite as busy here as some of the places. Further back is the Red Gem, which is a huge casino. Once you've walked in over the weird infinity floor, which made me feel like I was going to fall into a bottomless pit, although to be fair I didn't, there were loads of ways here that you could make or lose some money. Absolutely dozens of gaming machines on the one side and all the usual card tables and roulette wheels on the other. I'm not one for a casino myself, but again it was popular in the evenings, so ask yourself a question. Do you feel lucky? At the back of deck 7 is the Carousel Lounge. This is another large theatre with 400 seats that puts on shows twice a night. Unlike the Grand Theatre, these shows come at an extra cost, but we went to one called Alchemia, which we absolutely loved. It was only a few pounds and you got a cocktail included in the price. Other things happen here during the day as well. We went to a daily quiz here, and there are huge windows looking out to the ship's wake, which I always find mesmerising. Decks 8 to 14 have only cabins on them. They keep up the musical theme by naming each one after a famous composer like Mozart, Tchaikovsky, and we were on Strauss deck. And I haven't forgotten about the possible world exclusive tip I promised you at the beginning of this video. So before we skip up to deck 15, can I just ask, if you're finding this video at all useful or interesting, would you please hit the subscribe button and allow notifications? Subscribing doesn't cost you anything, but it means you'll know when I post another video, and it shows me you've enjoyed this one, which means a lot to me, so please subscribe. Thank you. Deck 15 then, and here you'll find 2 swimming pools. The Atmosphere pool is outdoors, and there's always a lot going on here. They have fitness classes and crazy games to have a go at. There's a cinema screen here where they show some pretty up-to-date films. There are loads of sun lounges all around. There are whirlpools with great views out of the side of the ship, and there's a bar, of course. Incidentally, you can watch a large selection of films on the TV in your cabin, but they're not free. £8 a pop when we were there. Next door to this is the tropical pool and bar, which is indoors under the glass roof and heated to a tropical temperature. Again, there's a pool, whirlpools, there was a table tennis table in here, which seemed a bit random, and another bar for a drink. It's really warm in here at all times, so if you're not lucky with the weather during your holiday, this could be the perfect place for you to relax. At the back of the ship, there is an enormous and always popular marketplace buffet. Cruise ship buffets are kind of legendary, and I thought this was one of the very best. For a start, it's huge with a massive choice of tempting food. The drinks here are included in your fare, so you can always get a drink at any time. And as you might expect on an Italian cruise line, the pizza and pasta was a speciality, and they make their own mozzarella on board, 300 kilos of it every day. You can be healthy by choosing salad and fruit, or you can pile your plate high. Nobody cares what combination of foods are sharing your plate. We love the buffet and we ate here every day. But it isn't always as quiet as it looks in these pictures. I filmed these very early in the morning. Usually it's more like this. But don't let that put you off. All these people can't be wrong. The buffet's great. Highly recommended. Up to deck 16 now, and at the back is this area called the Horizon Pool and Amphitheatre. Heading back indoors and you'll come to the Sportplex area. This has got all the games and activities that kids will love. There's a fantastic Formula 1 driving simulator, and you can play individually or two at a time. There's a 10-pin bowling alley here too, and lots of arcade games and a 4D cinema experience with hydraulic seats that dip and dive with the scenes you're watching. There's a bar, of course, and a large sports court and virtual reality games to play. It's very big and very impressive. Next to the Sportplex is the well-equipped gym, where you can work out with a view of what's happening outside. There was lots of equipment in the gym to help you burn off those buffet calories. Outside on the sun decks, and there's a running track for you if you prefer your running to be in the open air instead of on a treadmill. Now, on some ships they don't have a deck 13 because 13 is considered an unlucky number, but MSC are an Italian company, and in Italy it's 17 that's the unlucky number. So at the front of the ship on decks 16, 18 and 19 are the MSC Yacht Club areas, where if you've paid the appropriate fare you have an exclusive lounge, bar, sun deck and restaurant that only Yacht Club passengers can use. It's like having a ship within a ship. Away from those areas and on deck 18 there's the Sky Lounge, which is an adults only lounge and bar with lovely windows all around. Behind that there's Do Re Mi Land, which is the area where all the kids clubs are, alongside the Teen Club where there are video games to play, and this is by the Attic Club area and bar which extends outside. We're getting pretty high up now and close to my potential world exclusive tip, but before I get to that, let me show you the Savannah Aqua Park on deck 19. There's loads of ways to get wet here. There's a huge slide that actually slides you out over the side of the ship's edge, and there's the incredible Himalayan bridge, which is 80 metres long and 60 metres above sea level, and you're shown how to clip yourself on and walk from one end to the other. Finally up here there's the top 19 area, which is exclusively for guests who've paid the Aurea fare. So that's the end of the tour, and now for a tip that I haven't read or heard anywhere else. The corridors on cruise ships are really long, they feel like they go on forever. Apart from the glass lift, there are two main lobbies where the stairs and lifts are, but it always seems like you take the lift or stairs to the deck where your cabin is, only to find that you're at the opposite end of the ship to where you want to be, and you've got a really long despondent trudge along the corridors to get to your room. If only there was a way to tell the lift and stair lobbies apart so you'd know which was the best one to use to pop you out closest to your cabin. Well, you can tell them apart. The back of the ship is square and the front is rounded, and in the lift lobbies and staircases the pattern on the carpet is square or round as well. All you need to do is remember whether your cabin is nearer the front or the back of the ship, and then head to the square or round lobby to find yourself nearest to your room. Please subscribe for more videos, and until next time, thanks for watching.